So I've been playing Clash Royale recently, and y'all might not know, but I am actually quite new to the game. I started playing over this summer, but as you see here, I'm at like 4,266 trophies, and these are my top 5 most hated cards. So real quick, I do have an honorable mention, and that is going to Ram Rider. Now, if I played Ram Rider more, like I would put her in the top 5, and I really hate this card. This is just Hog Rider, but more annoying. Now, Hog Rider is really not that bad. Like, I don't use buildings in any of my decks, so maybe that's why I hate her so much. But, oh my gosh. You're basically cooked if you don't have a building or, like, a very strong defensive card. Like, I use P.E.K.K.A decks a lot, and Ram Rider can survive a P.E.K.K.A hit and still do like 500 damage to your tower. Like, the amount of close games I have lost to Ram Rider is just absurd. Like, to someone bridging a Ram Rider the second it hits overtime. It is so annoying. She survives Skarmies, she survives P.E.K.K.A, Mini P.E.K.K.A. Like, you name a card, she's surviving it. So it's hate this card with a passion. Coming in at number 5, I have Prince. I hate this card for multitude of reasons. He has an absurd amount of health. His charge does an absurd amount of damage. If you don't have swarm cards, you basically lose. So, like, I've had to build multiple decks just because of Prince. Like, and anytime I do build a deck around a specific card to defend that card because I played it so much, some other guy I play will have, like, a complete counter. But anyway, Prince has way too much health. He does way too much damage. I mean, that's pretty much the main reasons. Now, I don't see Prince played too much right now, but still, though, if you get caught lacking with low elixir, he's going to take your tower. Bridging a Prince works way too well, or works more well than it should. You might think, like, all right, let's say I'll put some guards down. Normally, guards will counter, but let's just say your opponent has like arrows or something. They clip the guards, so you put down a knight. He charges in the knight, kills a knight. You might think the Prince is dead. You might not see the health bar is like, or you might see it's gone or something like that. Well, no, guess what? He charges at you, and before he dies, he hits you with his spear and does 800 damage. It is insane. That is like the main reason I hate this card, just because it survives way more than it should. But yeah. At number 4, I have Executioner. This card absolutely pisses me off because there's a time where I had stopped playing Clash for like a while, and in that time frame, Executioner was like on the little challenge list or whatever, so everyone got Executioner and then evolved Executioner, so my decks were getting absolutely fried. It was terrible. I mean, I think I was running like, I was running some Hog decks, maybe some Witch decks. I can't remember exactly what I remember at the time, but what I remember, it was cooking everything I was running. And it still does. Anytime someone plays Executioner, I usually lose just because the range the Executioner has is unreal. It basically will annihilate any swarm cards. I mean, it can also attack air units, so it's like minions countered, Goblin Gang countered, Skarmy countered. Like, it just counters anything that is a swarm unit. And not only that, you can also build pushes with it too. Like, let's say you want to place an Executioner behind like a tank or something like that. Well, guess what? You can't swarm the tank now, the only thing you can do is maybe put like a P.E.K.K.A or like a Mega or just something like that. But that costs you a bunch of elixir, and the Executioner is like 4 elixir, so it's like, I don't know. And the evolved Executioner is ridiculous. The knockback effect is just, it's insane. At number 3, I have Mega Knight. Now, this is for obvious reasons. Do I think the Mega Knight is like the worst thing in the world? Not all the time. I mean, he gets countered by Inferno Dragon and Inferno Tower pretty easily, although that's like most tank decks. But, like a Knight can like full counter him, kind of, if you have a good placement, like Valkyrie can. And even most cards, but still, if you get caught with low elixir and if you get like out-cycled where you're like, your defensive cards don't work, then you're basically cooked. He is like one of the few cards that does counter this other card that I'm going to talk about later. But even then, I don't know. He is very hard. He has an absurd amount of health. He can jump from pretty far away. You really have to play very skilled when dealing with Mega Knight. You know, putting your troops in the best position possible. I don't know. It's a lot. It's very hard to defend Mega Knight, and he is also one of the best defensive units in the game. So he's not only good for defending, he's one of the best defensive cards, but also you can just build counter pushes with him extremely easily. Air units, you know, obviously air units are decent against them, but it just depends on the deck your opponent's running. Like, Mega Knight in and of himself is not the worst thing ever, but there are a lot of decks where it just makes it extremely difficult for him. But that's all I've got to say for him. At number 2, I have Goblin Barrel. This card is used in let's say you run up like 10 games of Clash in a day or something like that. I'd probably say about 7 or 8 of those games you're probably going to play as someone with Goblin Barrel. I used to not despise Goblin Barrel at first, but I have grown to disgust this card. It's basically free damage if you don't have like a spell or like log or something like that, which is basically a spell. Like, if you do not have like arrows or like zap, but even zap doesn't kill all the time, you're basically guaranteed damage if you or your opponent's playing Goblin Barrel. I mean, especially if it's a higher level, it's free damage every single time they throw it down. I mean, the only way to really counter it is, again, arrows, but if you're not using arrows or, you know, something like that, then you're just you basically lose. You know, I use Barbarian Barrel more than Log, but and Barbarian Barrel doesn't even like really kill the goblins. It just sets them to 1 HP normally. I think my Barbarian barrels level like 8 or something, and most of the time I'm playing like level 10 Goblin Barrels, so usually just they survive and they still get like chip damage, which is like 300 damage. That's still a lot. Like, in overtime, you lose if you don't have a spell that one-shots them or you get outcycled. It's free damage every single time. It is so repetitive. Like, it is just one of the most played cards in the game. I mean, for good reason. It's just free damage every single time you mash it down. And yeah, this card is repetitive and it's annoying. At number 1, I have Witch. I don't want to say this is self-explanatory, but it kind of is. Probably the best defensive card in the game. Skeletons, extremely good at distracting troops. Splash damage to take out swarm units, like, amazing for building counter pushes. I mean, I used to use Witch like a lot, but I haven't been recently. But Witch just stops so many tank decks. I mean, and it's just the fact that she can spawn skeletons. It just makes it so hard to stop. Again, like, so easy to counter like P.E.K.K.A. Like, any deck that has a tank that can be distracted like by enemy units, or like, and even like normal tank units, like skeletons will swarm so easily, and again, you can't really support those tank units because the Witch will just splash. Like, you know, if you have minions or something like that, or like minion horde, or just anything like that, all gone, deleted. Again, extremely hard to attack. Like, if you go into overtime with a Witch player, you're basically going to lose unless you have, like, I don't know, like Fireball, or if the Fireball is high enough leveled, or if you have like Zap, or Lightning or Rocket. But those cards are very expensive, so it'll cost you. I mean, it's either a neutral elixir trade or it's a negative. So it's just so expensive to defend against as well. Like, Witch can single-handedly completely take over an entire game by herself. Ridiculous card. The Evo Witch is insane, although I'm not in an arena high enough to having played against a Evo Witch yet. So I've been spared of that, but yeah, Witch is, again, ridiculously hard to attack and even ridiculously hard to defend at times. And yeah, that's my top 5, and it's always changing. And I was actually, before I go, I was very strongly considering putting Princess in my top 5 and even my honorable mention, but I honestly, like, Princess is interchangeable with, like, I don't know, like Ram Rider for honorable mention. Just not quite there. Princess also pisses me off a lot. Takes out swarm units, has an absurd amount of range. But anyway, that's my top 5, and thank you for watching if you made it this far.